As Auburn takes the podium today, what do we want to hear?
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off, and you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back. It's another bonus episode of the Top Button Podcast. We got my man Ben Taylor from the Auburn Network joining us, and we're going to talk about our expectations of Auburn's media day. What do you call it, a performance, or just their time to take the stand?
It's just their time to take, to stand. Yeah,
the stand,
literally.
yeah.
With
take
Hugh,
the stand.
Might as well be take the stand with Hugh as much as he's been judged as of late. So
yeah, exactly.
Take the podium and take questions from all the writers.
There you go. We're going to talk about what our expectations are, or what question we'd like to ask if we were in the audience, and just have some fun with it. Before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to rowback.com. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order. Polos, hoodies, doesn't matter. They got everything you can imagine: shorts, joggers, pants, swimsuits, anything. Literally any article of clothing they have it, and you can save big by using that coupon code. So show them some love. It's rowback.com. Ben, take it away.
Well, Kyle, first and foremost, before we get into this whole thing, there's one thing that I for some reason, on your intro to Top Button, I always hear something different. And I think it's funny because sometimes you've never been called a hater, but I love the fact that in your thing, it says Auburn Homer in there. So why anybody would ever think that you're not orange and blue through and through? It's literally in the intro to your podcast.
I don't like playing this game that I'm not a fan. I'm the most unprofessional person that covers Auburn. Like, I don't like to play this pretend game. Oh, I'm being professional. I'm not a fan. I'm not going to.
Right.
No, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, dude. I'm covering the team from a fan perspective. So why not?
I absolutely love it. I love the fact that you do it and you own it. Like, instead of being like one of those fancy writers, it's like, no, I'm very objective. No, we're not. Like, I'm not right now, but usually I'm wearing an Auburn shirt, so I'm totally a fan. So I get it. Yeah. I love it. So SEC Media Days, in the throes of it, and I think right now, a lot of people, because the low hanging fruit is the whole golf topic and all that kind of stuff, which I'm glad that Hugh kind of got out in front of already. He was like, I don't care. This is, my wife and I like to play. I take her out there. I'm going to play I was like, you know what? Finally, you addressed it. You said this is what you're going to do. Good for you. I'm fine with it. But he's still going to get those questions.
You know what's funny is somebody posted this the other day in like a group text. And, Lane Kiffin we think he's been trolling. I think that's been the common thought, is he's trolling Hugh. I'm not so sure that's the case anymore. I almost wonder if he's sort of, I don't want to say taking up for Hugh, but like, I'm trying to find.
I think he's trolling Auburn fans. Let me tell you
why. Let me tell you why I don't think that's the case. Okay, here's why I don't think it's the case anymore. Anyways, he is almost trying to put out that he's not in Oxford very often. He's almost putting it out there, even like I'm fishing all the time. Like, he hasn't been in Oxford very much at all since June. Like, he spends a ton of time in Boca Raton. He fishes, and all that's great. And I swear it's like, I don't want to say, I don't know the right term. I don't know that it's taking up for him. I don't know if it's, hey, look at, I'm doing it too. Or Coach Hugh Freeze, look at it is okay to go do stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is, but I
think it's a little sympathizing, probably.
You think I can't find the timeline. Somebody sent it to me. If I would have been prepared for this, I would have had it. But it was basically like 5 or 6 weeks in a row, weekends or weeks or dates in a row that he was not in Oxford. And a lot of it was in June, whenever you could be hosting visits. And I know the response is going to be, well, he won 10 games last year. But the thing is, like, if you don't care about it now, you shouldn't care about it I'm sorry. If you don't care about it just because of wins, like then you really don't think it can affect anything. Like in reality,
Right.
you really don't believe that it has an effect on anything. I'm sure he's probably going to be asked some of these questions, but I don't know, man. I think the Lane Kiffin thing may be more of a. I don't think it's so much trolling as I did before, I guess.
No, and I had this conversation with a buddy of mine, and I know we're going off topic a little bit here, but
Yeah.
I said, the whole golf thing that you guys keep because this particular guy doesn't like it either. I was like, do you not like the fact that he posts the scores, or do you not like that he's playing golf, or do you what is I? They can't really give me a good answer.
Nobody
They're
can.
just like, well, so and so. If you win 10 games, I said so. Like when Bruce beat Alabama and came back and stayed at the lake for 3 days instead of continuing to coach that week, you didn't have an issue with that. Well, no, he's winning. I was like, then it doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter what they do. And so that's my argument because it's just low hanging. It's not incompetence like Harsin, where on Big Cat Weekend we had like 4 people here when Harsin was here, and he signed like 1 guy. Like Hugh's still putting numbers up. He just hasn't seen the success on the field. So just win. Enough of that.
Yeah.
Instead of hearing about golf, what do we want to hear? This while he's taking the quote unquote the stand. I'm going to use that now from here on out.
I don't know what you call it. Do you get fired up for media day before we go into that? Do you get fired up for it? Do you look at you don't care about it at all?
I look at it as being a lot of coach speak and stuff that we can probably get during a midweek. We can probably get during a midweek press conference if we just jump on a conference call.
Yeah.
If I'm going, yes, I get fired because I think it's more about when you go. I think it's more about you talking to other people and find out the ins and outs of stuff that they haven't released yet. So you kind of get to hear some rumors. So I think it's fun if you go. If you're there to cover it and you get some, you're not getting anything from the coaches. We're not going to get any other time.
Yeah, you're probably right. I don't know. I don't really get much from it. I get excited about who they're going to take and whatnot, but I just don't feel like you really ever hear anything super spectacular. Anyway, I think what I want to hear, what I'd love to hear is, and I know we won't, but what I would love to hear is a little bit more in-depth conversation around obstacles or what they've seen so far out of NIL Go in the clearinghouse and like what type of deals seem to be going through and what type of deals aren't. And, are they going to continue to be conservative? Or I think more clarification around that would be fun to hear about. I was hoping you'd get that from Sankey, but you didn't.
I was too.
Yeah, you did not.
He gave us nothing.
He gave the, we feel like we're operating under the letter of the ruling or whatever. We feel like we're operating by the book. So you didn't really glean anything from that, or whether or not this August 1st date, or what do you expect out of this August 1st date? Do you you threw that out there, or that's been thrown out there, not necessarily by you, but by John Cohen. But like, what is the expectation? Like, are you expecting a bunch of schools to not be able to put the number that they've promised on paper, and that's going to help you be able to pivot? Or do you expect to start putting out bigger numbers on August 1st? Like, I know that would never be a conversation that would be had out in the public, but I just overall wish we could get a little bit more clarity, and maybe we will. When you're listening to this, maybe he does talk a lot about it. And when he does, we'll break it down. But I think that's the biggest thing that I would love to have more clarity on is the NIL situation.
That is one of my 2 things that I would like to hear more of.
Yeah.
The one being and not necessarily August 1, but paint a picture for me. If I'm the one asking the question, because they only select so many people to ask. So if I get selected, I'm standing up and I'm going, paint a picture for me after August 1, expectations, both pro and con.
Yeah.
If you're so right and John Cohen's so right and Auburn's people are so right, then what does that look like? What does that mean? If you're completely off base and you whiffed at this, what is the backup plan after August 1 if the entire staff has completely missed on this? And it's okay for you to use the term bag man because that's what we've brought back, Hugh. And I think that's what the backup plan is, in my opinion.
I got a question for you that I want to ask
Okay.
in response to that, and we'll ask it right after this. When you're talking about if we missed or not, or we were wrong or not, what do you think specifically that would be? Like, what exactly?
To me is him saying, I still think we can be a top 10 class.
Okay.
And if after between August 1 and I'm going to say October 31st, because I think by that time, if the hay's not in the barn, something's wrong. By August 1 and October 31, if we're still sitting in the 70th percentile as far as recruiting is concerned, then you've missed. You totally missed. You and the staff had it wrong, and you missed.
But let me ask you this: what do you think that is that's wrong? Like what do you think that? What do you think it is?
That they didn't cheat like everybody else.
or they're not willing to cheat like everybody.
Right. I mean, let's call it what it is.
I was trying to get it out of you. I
have no problem saying that. I mean, you see these guys that are making these promises, and Kyle, that's the thing is even John Cohen has said it, Hugh has said it. You heard it at the Big 12 media days last week where they said there's been a lot of empty promises because all this stuff has been promised to these kids, and come August 1, they're either going to be doing it illegally or they can't fulfill it. And in other words,
it'll be really tough for them to fulfill it.
In other words, the kids that stay, they're going to be investigated for those kids because it just doesn't make sense that they've promised. I think the number of the Big 12 media day, somebody said they promised upwards of $70 million to a bunch of kids. Well, where are they going to go then? Because you don't have that money. You don't have $70 million.
And I don't know that you're going to be able to get it through the clearinghouse anymore.
Right.
I mean, with collectives, you can't do deals with collectives anymore. So you can't write a check from On to Victory to insert player for doing autographs anymore. You can't do that. So where is that money going to come from? It's going to be, you're going to have to play some games and you're going to have to make some things work. But like you said, there's going to be let's just be honest. There's going to be an element of the black market that is going to come into play now.
There's no doubt.
If you can only get a kid $100,000 in NIL pass through, or you only feel confident you can get $100,000 pass through, but he wants $200,000 in NIL on top of his rev share. Like, if you can't get it through, you got to put in writing that you're only going to do 100, and then you're going to have to do that. Figure out what you're going to do, how to get him that other 100. I mean, whether it is in a duffel bag on the front step, like back in the day. I said this too. I said this way back when we were talking about this potential ruling. I was talking about the pros and the cons, and I said one of the cons is going to be that this is going to open back up the black market. So
yes,
you're going to have to figure out how you're going to play ball. Obviously, we're not going to talk about how Auburn is going to cheat. How do you cheat? But there's got to be
one of the teams to watch is not even in the Southeastern Conference. There are two of the teams to watch are not even in the SEC. I'm going to give you three teams. Florida State, who seems to be flipping a lot of people for big promises that are being handed out.
Yeah.
Ohio State. Now, they've got a national championship that they can kind of lean on, and plus they own the recruiting in the Big Ten besides Michigan. So but still, there are a lot of big promises that they've given kids that are well beyond $20.5 million that has been given to them. And Michigan. Those are three schools that are relevant, in my opinion, because I think Florida State is relevant, even though they've had a terrible season. I think they're relevant due to their recruiting. Florida State, Ohio State, and Michigan are three teams that I think, all right, after August 1, I want to see what's happening to these. Not necessarily what's happening to Auburn, but what's happening to teams like that.
See, I want to see what happens with teams like USC and Georgia and Texas A&M. Texas A&M was a very big collective school. Like they were heavy through that collective. They have 24 commits. Georgia has like 30. USC has 31. Like you can't be doing that all with rev share. Like you have to be making some pretty big promises on the NIL
Not
aspect
5
of it.
stars. I mean, yeah, you want to get a bunch of 1 stars, you can get those guys
Yeah,
committed,
but I mean,
5 stars, no. Not at
I'm
all.
curious to see how those guys work out. And you mentioned Michigan, like that was kind of their deal at the end of the last recruiting season.
Yeah.
Everybody started pumping in a crap load of money, and they flipped the quarterback from LSU. They flipped a bunch of dudes and had a really, really top class. Well, those things aren't going to be, in theory, should not be available anymore. And then you got like Oregon. What about Oregon is sitting at 12 with only 14 commits. I say only. And they had the number 1 class last year. Like it seems like maybe they are, that whole Phil Knight will write whatever check he needs to write. Maybe those things don't work anymore. Maybe those things aren't quite as,
Or maybe
easy.
they're doing it the right way. I said the same thing about Colorado. They got 5 commits. You're talking about Dion that had all kinds of commits the last couple of years, and he's only got 5. I mean, maybe some of those schools are doing it like Cohen and Auburn is doing it, and maybe after August 1, maybe
once it's
transparent, maybe some bags are dropped with no Nike logos on them. Maybe they're just some bags that show up in people's yards. I don't know.
Yeah, very well could be. There's going to have to be an element of that, I would imagine, for everybody. But yeah, would love to have had a little bit more transparency, but it seems like we're just going to have to wait and see. Ben, if you had one question you could ask either Hugh, Jackson Arnold, Keldrick Falk, or Connor Lew, what would your one question be?
My one question is to Hugh and to Jackson Arnold.
All right, let's hit it.
And that is, let me lead into it with this. Hugh, all I heard last year was we're on the same page. Communication's great between you and Peyton Thorne the last 2 years. Clearly, as Maury Povich said, that was a lie. So let me ask, are you and Jackson, are you and Hugh on a great level of communication so we don't see arguments on the sideline or we don't get people getting thrown under the bus in post-game press conferences because somebody did something that they weren't supposed to? Is the communication there, or are we just saying that for the media? That'd be my question for them.
It doesn't necessarily mean it had to have been a lie last year. I mean, you could have gone in thinking you were good, and then when the bullets started flying, clearly things.
See, this is the Auburn Homer thing that I was telling you about earlier.
No, I mean just being realistic. But a question I would like to ask, I had it in my head. Oh my gosh, and I just lost it. No, here it is. This is what it would be. If, heaven forbid, the third game or so, Jackson goes down, who's the quarterback coming off the bench?
Oh.
And then on the flip, if it's later in the season and Jackson goes down, does that decision change? In other words, if it's later in the season, you only have like 3 games to go and you're probably maybe not playing for anything at that point in time. Maybe you are, who knows? Would that change your direction? Like, would you think more so of giving the keys to Deuce versus Ashton? Whereas at the beginning of the season, maybe if you still feel like you can make a run and Ashton's better than Deuce at that point in time, do you roll with Ashton at the beginning of the season? Does timing of an injury change the perspective or does it just Ashton is number 2, Deuce is number 3, and that's just it, that's what it sounds like it is right now.
Which is wild to say right now because Ashton has not been here for practice. And Deuce has.
He's here now, but and he was here for a lot of the spring camp. He just wasn't participating. But yeah, exactly. He has not had a full practice at Auburn right now, but I think everybody likes what they see out of summer so far. So a lot of stuff. Some people get fired up for this. Others, it's just something to talk about until it tides you over until fall camp, which
I think the best thing that gets you excited about it, SEC Media Days is the unofficial kickoff. That means practice is coming up next. That means we're going to start hearing stuff out of camps. That means football is going to be played at the end of August. So I think that's why I think it's more of a pageantry excitement than it is being able to actually get any content out of it. But it's still it lets me know, hey, we've moved past baseball season and we're finally into football season now that SEC Media Days are here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, thanks for listening. We'll be back again soon. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast bonus edition. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening and drive home safely.